All right, so I am back in the Las Vegas desert with this 2024 Mustang GT. And today we're going to ask ourselves, is this the best sports car you can buy for less than 50,000 bucks? But I'm also going to do this review a little differently than some other people do. I'm also going to talk about its aftermarket potential and some of the other things that you could do to the car that you don't normally hear about in these car reviews. All right, the first leg of this trip, we're gonna head south close to the California border to visit a place called Good Springs that's out in the middle of nowhere.
I've been on a lot of roads. Not many are like that.
Now, I took a different trip today because I wanted to visit one of the parts from one of my favorite video games of all time, Fallout New Vegas, which starts in Good Springs, Nevada, which is about 15-20 miles south of the Vegas Strip. I've always said I'm a Chevy guy and a Corvette guy because I love Corvettes, but I've actually owned 4 Mustangs in my life, currently own a Mustang now, and this is the second Mustang I've reviewed on the channel, so I guess I'm a Mustang guy too. Now, everybody loves to talk about the Dark Horse Mustang, but what they don't realize is you can get a base GT for 44,000 bucks with the premium package being 48,000 bucks, which is a steal if you think about it. You can get some big Brembo brakes on this thing. It also has a track package. It has line lock in drag mode, and you can use the e-brake in a drift mode if you really want to have some fun and slide around. Probably one of the most impressive things about the new Mustang is the interior. It really makes it a modern car. Both the dashboard and center console screens are huge and extremely customizable.
This dashboard will match your drive mode depending on what you're in, or you could switch it to normal, sport, track, which I like that one, calm, which if you're a wuss, I don't like that at all, classic 1967-68 Mustang display, my personal favorite Fox body Mustang display, and same as my new Edge, actually. 99 to 01. Pretty cool. I like that a lot. The other thing I noticed about when you want to change your color in the other modes is, see how the dash is yellow and red? Well, if I wanted to change the primary to, let's say, red, those change. Then I want to change this to, let's say, blue. Boom. You could change it to blue. I mean, obviously, there's secondary, primary colors. You could switch them all back and forth. Obviously, like, all right, we're in a yellow car. We'll make it yellow. How about that? Pretty neat. So it's all customizable. This car has 480 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque with a 7,250 RPM redline. In the stock GT trim, it does make 480 horsepower without the active exhaust. It says 486 with it. However, a lot of people have found on a dyno that it puts down between 415 and 425 horsepower to the rear tire. And currently, as I make this video, there's not a whole lot of tuning options for these things yet because they haven't really unlocked the ECU, but just by throwing headers and exhaust on this thing, you can add another 10 to 15 horsepower and make it sound like an absolute monster. Although tuning options are really limited on this car for now, slapping on a Whipple supercharger on this thing, people are getting close to 800 horsepower to the rear tire with just a supercharger, headers, and exhaust, which is insane. You're almost doubling the wheel horsepower that it puts down. To me, that's kind of ruining the car, but I know a lot of you guys love to add horsepower to your Mustangs. I don't blame you. For me, I love that these cars are really track focused as well. They do everything well. They're really starting to make some waves as track cars now too. The car is also noticeably different, especially from the front to the older model Mustangs that we've seen in the past years. The grille is a hell of a lot bigger. I love the look of the whole bumper, and you have some cowls here that actually just kind of bring out and accent the different colors that you have. Obviously, I really like this yellow, and it's actually got like a metallic flake in it, but I like how it contrasts with the black, and this car also has black wheels, and I think that looks good too.
I've always had a thing for the C-pillar and rear quarter panel on the S550 Mustang, and the S650 Mustang does not disappoint. I love it even more. I just think it looks even more aggressive. And looking at it from the side, just it's like almost like a ducktail spoiler in the back, how it's like cut in there like that. It looks different, and I like that too. So enough with about how this thing looks. Let's see how this thing really drives. That's pretty cool. The thing gets up there quick. In stock form, this will do the quarter mile in 12.5 seconds at about 116 miles per hour. To give you some perspective, that is about as fast as the stock Mark V Supra. It's definitely faster than the new Nissan Z, and it's right there with the Camaro Super Sport. What always makes me laugh about those numbers is if you go back 10 years, that's probably faster than the Shelby GT500 of that era. It feels really put together. I really have no complaints about its driving capabilities. And although it's a heavy car, it doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels big inside, but it still has a good nimbleness about it that I didn't think that I would get. I thought, like, oh my God, this thing feels, it's a big car, it feels like a boat. It's pretty planted. And I was not expecting that. I thought it would be obviously big car, a lot of weight, hard to really maneuver it like some of the older models. Definitely not the case. I'm not really getting the car too far out of whack where it wants to oversteer, but with some throttle you can get it to, which I feel like on a track that would be great. And that's personally my personal preference. That's how I like to drive. I like to be able to use the throttle coming out of turns to kind of rotate the car, and I think I can really do that pretty easily with this. There you go. I mean, it's definitely got the power, that's for sure. At first, the automatic, I was like, oh, I thought these 10-speed automatics were awesome. Because I'm like, you know, just casually driving it around and the shifts are slow. But when you're actually pedal to the floor on it, the shifts are really, really fast. And now I completely understand why people love these things, because the transmissions in them are awesome. Now, me personally, if I'm building out one of these, I'm probably going to pick a manual just because I don't care if it's faster. I want the driving experience, and I can only imagine how great this car would be with an actual stick shift. But launching it there like I just did, I didn't even brake stand it or nothing. I just let go, hit the gas, the car just hooked up and went. I'm sure if I had it in track mode, it'd spin the tires, but this thing barely broke the tires and just took off and went. When they say 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds, they mean it. One of the things that I really like about the Mustang more than the Camaro, which a lot of people don't realize until you actually get in one of these cars, is the visibility. As much as I love Chevy, the Camaro just has terrible visibility. And this car has so much better visibility that I'm gonna show you. So this is the view from behind, which you can see pretty good. I mean, obviously you could see the beautiful Red Rock Canyon, that's where we are. But this is the view from the driver's seat. And it really is really good visibility. I mean, that's out the rear view mirror. You can really see everything, which if you were in the Camaro, it'd be like, well, that'd be the door. And you'd be like, what the hell's going on? So the visibility in this car is really good. If you're looking for a great way to support our channel, check out lowboostfilms.com. Not only does this support the channel, but you'll look great while you do it as well. We have a great selection of different types of apparel and merchandise that you guys can buy. I also have a selection of car parts and tools that we've reviewed on the channel that we know work well for sale on there as well at a good price, so make sure you check it out. So that is Red Rock Canyon behind me. This is another spot that I love to go to take a drive out when you're when you're in a car out in Vegas. Everybody does these car reviews and they'll tell you all the features and everything and all the ins and the outs, but I try to do it more as a car enthusiast, as I've stated. So obviously the car out of the box is great, but you get one of these for 44 to 48,000 bucks. For 10,000 bucks, you slap on a Whipple supercharger, throw some injectors and maybe some better fuel and a nice tire on the back, and this thing is an absolute monster. It's almost like a cheat code. To me, that's ruining the car, because I think the car is a great track car and that much power is totally unusable on a track. But if you're gonna go that route, you can get different suspensions, sway bars, coilovers, and really make this thing into a track weapon. Now that the new Shelby GT350 is out, there's a lot of those parts that you're going to be able to get probably and throw on this thing. So there's going to be a lot of customization that you can do to make this thing exactly what you want it to be. The dual intakes and the revised camshaft profiles really allow this thing to breathe better, and that's why you're getting a lot more power. It likes to rev. 7,200 RPM I feel is low in this. I feel like people probably turn it up to at least 8,000 RPM. With stock internals, this car is awesome for that.
All right, I haven't really told you the things I dislike about the car, outside of the fact that it's an automatic, okay? I do think the steering, even in the better drive modes, I do think the steering is a little numb, so to say. The tires will tell me I'm closer to the limit before I get any feedback from the steering wheel, which I don't think it's a terrible thing. I just think if you're coming from, like me, driving BMWs or Porsches, you expect that a little bit more in those cars, and you don't get that with this. It's not a deal breaker. I still think it's a great car. That's just the only really gripe that I've had about it. The other thing is, this car doesn't have the active exhaust, and it's really not that loud. With the stock exhausts. All in all, after driving this thing for 2 days, it really makes me understand why the Mustang is the winner. When I say the winner, people will compare, oh, is Camaro better than Mustang? Is Camaro better than Mustang? And there were a lot of years the Camaro was. I mean, you look at the SN95 to New Edge Mustang years, the Camaro was always faster in almost every measurable category. But the one category that the Mustang will always beat the Camaro in was, since they started making the Mustang, they never stopped. They stopped making the Camaro, what, twice now? So for me, Mustang will always be the winner in that category. Ford is still committed to that. And personally, I like to think that I like cars that are different. I don't like having the same car that everybody else does. But then again, I have a Corvette, and I don't care, because I'll make it different than mostly everybody else. And I think you could do the same thing with this car. Yeah, everybody's got a Mustang. Lots of people have Mustangs. But you could still get one of these and make it different than everybody else's. Whether you're going to make it into a drag car, a track car, a roll race car, it doesn't matter. You can make this thing into whatever you want it to. And it's a great canvas for modifications. Doesn't matter what your modification preferences are. And in terms of technology, the interior of this car, this thing is great. Like, it's awesome. They truly made a modern Mustang. I wouldn't suggest getting the 4-cylinder Mustang. The 4-cylinder Mustang is faster in the quarter mile than my New Edge Mustang is, which I think is hilarious, because that was the Mustang at the time in 2002. And now the 4-banger Mustang is faster, but you don't buy the Mustang to get, you know, if you like the 4-banger and that's what you can get, I understand it. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper than this, but if you could spend the $44K to get a GT with this Coyote V8 5.0, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Let me know in the comments if you think this is the best new sports car you can get for 50,000 bucks, because I can't think of anything else that would be better. If you like this type of content, make sure to hit our subscribe button and hit the bell for alerts. That way YouTube will show you when I have a new video, which usually comes out every Thursday. And if you can't wait until next week's video, make sure to check out these videos that I already have ready to go.